Hey everyone, welcome to Lights on Turkish Stars. Settle in, because tonight's story carries the kind of New Year electricity that turns a whisper into a roar. Before we get into the details, make sure you're following us and sharing this video so you don't miss a single beat of what really went down. The first days of the year have barely begun, and the gossip world is already in overdrive after what happened between Gökberk Yıldırım and Cemre Arda on New Year's Eve. It all unfolded at a private celebration tucked inside one of Istanbul's most in-demand night spots, a place where the lights spill onto the Bosphorus and the tables are lined with familiar faces from their closest circle. The mood was warm, the laughter constant, and the music dipped and rose in waves. Throughout the evening, Gökberk Yıldırım and Cemre Arda were unmistakably inseparable. They moved like two halves of one rhythm, leaning into each other for quick, private exchanges, stepping away only to greet friends who kept drifting over to their table. There had been rumors about them for months, talk of harmony and connection that never lost heat, but the two of them had always steered clear of confirming anything too personal in public. That's why what happened just before midnight stunned even the people who thought they knew everything. A few minutes before the countdown, with glasses lifted and smiles brimming, the couple shared their long-anticipated news. They told their closest friends that not only were they serious, but they had a date in mind. The plan, they said, was to marry in the summer of 2026. The reaction was immediate. Applause rippled through the table, chairs scraped back as people stood to embrace them, and a hush fell over the nearby crowd that quickly shifted into delighted noise. The news didn't stay secret for long, the kind of excitement that starts at one table in a venue like that never does. Still, in the glow of that moment, it didn't matter. All that mattered was the way their faces softened as they looked at each other, as if they'd finally reached the moment they'd been carefully moving towards for a long time. If you've been following their journey, you already know they valued privacy. Even when they appeared at the same events, they held back from confirming their personal life. They let their work speak, and when it came to them as a couple, they preferred a quiet lane. According to people close to the pair, they had been sketching out ideas for this step for quite a while, balancing intense schedules, fast-changing projects, and the realities of their careers. There were points when they nearly locked in a date, then pulled back due to conflicts they couldn't control. Yet as this year turned, their decision felt settled. What was once a series of what-ifs has now crystallized into a plan that carries them toward a shared future. The dinner table, after the reveal, became the theater of tenderness. Some guests wiped their eyes openly, others clapped and couldn't stop. Voices softened, toasts were offered, and the camera flashes from phones lit up the edges of the moment like tiny fireworks. Those who were close enough to hear caught small fragments. More than once, friends say, Gökberk Yıldırım joked that the clock for them was already ticking, an affectionate way to say he's all in. Cemre Arda, who is known to protect her feelings from the glare, didn't hide them that night. She blinked back tears, laughed easily through the emotion, and at one point whispered to a dear friend that at last she could breathe. Every gesture between them gave the night a quiet glow, but what really sealed it was the promise threaded through their smiles. Now, of course, the chatter has spilled everywhere. It's said they're leaning toward a ceremony that reflects who they are, elegant but stripped of excess, intimate rather than performative, and close to the sea. A private wedding by the water, with just family and loyal friends, is what people who know them are betting on. Think soft music, low lights, a breeze off the shoreline, and an effortless kind of grace. The headcount wouldn't be large. The focus would be on meaning, not spectacle, and afterward they'd slip away abroad for a honeymoon that prioritizes time together over headlines. We should note that neither of them posted anything from the night. Their profiles stayed quiet, as if to protect the sacredness of the news just a little longer. But several guests couldn't resist hinting that change was in the air. Pictures from the venue appeared in stories with captions about clean slates and bold tomorrows. It didn't take much. Just minimal words and a suggestive photograph or two to send fans into a frenzy. The idea of marriage caught fire, and within hours, timelines were flooded with well wishes that rolled in like a tide. Suddenly everyone wanted to know what comes next and when they'd share it with the world. As of this moment, there's been no formal post, no press release, no interview quote with the stamp of official confirmation. But let's be honest. A private announcement like that, delivered at the height of New Year's anticipation, is the strongest sign yet of where they're headed. Now the question on every entertainment desk is the same. When will they tell the public themselves, and how? Behind the scenes, the glow of that night apparently lasted well past midnight. They were luminous as the hours stretched on. Friends described the way he moved around her. A hand at her back as they wove through the room, making sure she had a chair, shielding her from the crush of people who wanted to press in and share their excitement. She, in turn, kept squeezing his hand as if to anchor them both to that gliding feeling. The line on everyone's lips is that this was not spontaneous. It was something carefully weighed, patiently waited for, and embraced when the timing finally aligned. Several guests swear they saw him lean in during the countdown and murmur a promise only she could hear, and that she answered with a smile that said everything. Another wave of whispers claims that plans have already slipped into motion. The word is that they won't go for an enormous guest list. Instead, they want meaning stitched into every detail. Those who have worked with them say this tracks perfectly with their personalities. While some couples love the spectacle of a press-filled extravaganza, this pair tends to choose control and calm. That preference could mean a ceremony from which media is politely excluded. As for style, the predictions are textbook classic. People close to her mention that Arda has long gravitated to silhouettes that are timeless and refined, clean lines, unforced beauty, perhaps a veil that floats rather than shouts. For him, the whispers suggest a sharply tailored suit that feels like night sky, a nod to tradition with just enough modern ease to be unmistakably his. Fans are not sitting still. Old interviews have resurfaced, clips from award nights and charity galas, slow-motion edits of the two of them catching each other's eyes in crowded rooms. The comments are uniform in tone. This step suits them. It's as if those who have rooted for them from the start can sense that the arc is natural, that it was always bending toward partnership. And, because they've chosen silence for now, every tiny clue becomes an object of analysis. The shape of a ring finger in a blurry party photo is dissected. The color of the jacket she wore that night is debated. If anything, their quiet has only sharpened the excitement. It's not just romance on their minds, though. The word is that both are making careful choices about their schedules. Friends say that Gökberk Yıldırım is reading scripts and weighing offers that would stretch him in new directions, while Arda is exploring ways to fold her commitments around what's ahead. It isn't about stepping back so much as stepping smartly, reshaping calendars in a way that allows the personal and the professional to complement each other rather than compete. Those close to them report that they believe a marriage built on shared support could make their work stronger, not weaker. The goal is balance, and from the outside, it looks like that's exactly what they're building. Everyone wants to lock down the date. Summer keeps coming up again and again, whispered like a charm. But another rumor keeps nipping at the edges of conversation. Don't be shocked if they move fast and quietly, perhaps with a sudden civil signing that catches everyone by surprise. Imagine it, a simple, early ceremony that becomes official in a heartbeat, followed later by the seaside celebration that reads like a dream. Social feeds are already primed for this possibility, with fans predicting a hushed approach that feels very them. If you're wondering about the families, the signals are all green. The murmurs say that both sides have given wholehearted approval, and that bonds between relatives have been forming in the background for a while now. There's even talk of a small family gathering in the first days of the year, nothing extravagant, just an intimate get-together to mark the decision and bless the path ahead. It's the kind of detail that turns whispers into conviction. When the elders are smiling, the rest seems to fall into place. As we watch the story bloom, the constant is how genuinely happy they seem. Friends describe the New Year embrace as a moment that could have been staged for a film, except it wasn't. It was the real thing, hands clasped, music peaking, the room cheering, and two people who have spent months navigating a delicate line finally stepping over it on their own terms. The countdown came and went, but the feeling stayed. Someone at the next table reportedly leaned over and told them, "This is your year." A line like that might sound like a cliché anywhere else, but there, in that light, it felt true. From here, the watch continues. Their circles are tight-lipped, their teams won't confirm anything. But the pattern is clear. A summer wedding surrounded by ocean air. A vow to keep the moment close. A potential getaway far from the cameras, where their days belong to them alone. Maybe it's the Mediterranean. Maybe it's another coast with cliffs and late sunsets. Wherever it is, the meaning will be all their own. Until they speak directly to the public, the speculation machine will keep humming. Expect more edits, more resurfaced clips, more heated debates about dress codes and guest lists. Expect the theater of anticipation. But if you strip away the noise, what remains is simple. Two people who, after careful thought and a lot of patience, decided the time had come. That's why the room was full of happy tears and soft laughter. That's why the clinking of glasses sounded like a soundtrack. That's why, when they walked out into the cold night air after midnight, they did it side by side as if they'd been doing it their whole lives. We'll keep listening for the announcement, the post, the caption that seals it. Maybe the reveal will be elegantly understated, a single image that says everything. Maybe it will be a brief video, a look exchanged, a hint of seaside blue in the background. However they choose to share it, it'll be on their timing, sculpted to fit the way they've handled their story from the beginning, carefully, respectfully, and with a quiet confidence that has only drawn people closer. That's the latest from Lights on Turkish Stars. If you enjoyed unraveling the clues with us, make sure you're subscribed and send this video to someone who's been following every twist. We'll be here, watching the horizon and waiting for the moment when Gökberk, Yıldırım, and Cemre Arda step forward together and let the world in on what their friends already know. Until then, stay with us and we'll bring you every detail as it lands.